All right, everybody.
Oh,
I think we're going to get started. I'm Artis Kadu. I'm the founder and CEO here at Element. And joined with me today is going to be Tai Fujimura, Chief Product Officer at Element, and also Brendan Henkel. Apologies for, he's a special guest, so we didn't really add him to here, but he'll be very, very, instrumental to our presentation today. So if you're here today to meet Bolt Agents, you're in the right place. Bolt Agents, the digital workforce for higher education. And we're going to do a couple of different things today. We're actually going to essentially kind of set ourselves up and understand when we talk about agents. I don't know if you've been part of a lot of the presentations here at Element over the last 6 months or so. We've been talking a lot about agents and kind of what they mean, what they are. We've had numerous webinars and other presentations. JC and I, we have a podcast called Generation AI, so we talk a lot about AI agents in there. But this notion of agents is really, really kind of becoming a common word in the technology space today when you talk about that in 2025. And then the second half, or most of the presentation, we're going to be actually showing Bolt AI agents and the Element 451 platform, the digital workforce platform for higher education, and we're building, those agents for higher ed. So, so we're going to split it up into those two. But before, we kind of get started, what is an AI agent, right? Kind of understanding what an AI agent is, or understanding, what the terminology means, gives us a little bit more insight into, how the technology works and kind of how we can place it mentally into the capabilities of what these software can do and what these AIs can do nowadays. So when you think about an agent, it's really a software program that autonomously performs tasks or makes decisions based on goals. So think about that. It's very, very important, right? It's just this piece of software that makes autonomously performs tasks and makes decisions based on goals. And the subtitle here is using AI or artificial intelligence to interact with its environment and execute actions with minimal human intervention. So there is you can see by this definition that how a lot of AI programs today or AIs today can be conceived as agents because there is a spectrum, right? There's a spectrum in terms of what we call agents. So there's a spectrum from very simple agents that perform certain tasks, right, autonomously. So we have those taskers, but then we have agents that autonomously actually, do a lot more than that. So there is a spectrum when we talk about agents. And today we're going to talk about the most cutting edge or the most capable agents, the autonomous agents, and that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on as part of a demo at Element. Why is this important, right? Like, why is this really important? And I pulled together a few quotes here from some of the thought leaders in kind of the AI space and kind of technology that is reflecting where the technology is today and how it can affect our organizations, how it can affect the way we do work and the way that we work with software and in our organizations overall. So Bill Gates says that AI agents will upend the software industry. It's pretty bold move, right? The biggest shift since we moved from command lines to icons. So agents is a transformational technology on how we interact with software and how the software, the traditional software or SaaS or however you want to think about it, it's going to transform in how we work with it overall. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, says that agents will be the primary way we interact with computers. So no longer will we have to, think through the tasks that we want to accomplish and click through different screens or go from screen to screen and so on and so forth. We're going to talk to agents and we're going to interact with agents in different methods, either through text or voice or vision or video. And we're going to essentially get work done and that's how we're going to interact with our computers. Or computers nowadays is actually a very, very different term. Like, we can talk about your phone that you have in your pocket. We can talk about your smartwatch. We can talk about your smart glasses or your desktop PC or iPad, and so on and so forth. So the computing devices and the platform have evolved drastically, but the way that we interact with them is going to be primarily through these agents, some intelligence on the other side that can act and interact and do things. Um, Sam Altman, he is the CEO of OpenAI, says that 2025 may be the year where the first AI agents join the workforce and materially change company output. What that means is that we now have capable AI that can join the workforce and can do equivalent work output to somebody like a human, right? So that's very meaningful when we think about it, because all of the last couple of decades, productivity has been driven by better software, faster interfaces, or better user experience. But agents kind of change that, and now they can actually do that work rather than software facilitating a faster workflow, right? So no longer is it about, can we make this task 10% faster to do or 20% faster? It's actually, how can we give it to the software so it can perform it on its own, just like a human, which is very, very interesting. And one of the last quotes that I have in here is from Jensen Huang, which says, the IT team will become the HR department of AI agents, onboarding and nurturing a digital workforce. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how and what does that look like in reality for higher education and how that fits in. But this is very fundamental, that, you know, AI agents are going to be capable to do the work, similar work as humans, or as our human counterparts, and they're going to be able to be working together collaboratively and in an organizational setting, right? So that's really, really important when you think about it. But what really makes that possible is kind of this progression, very, very fast progression of AI, specifically this deep intelligence, artificial intelligence that we've started, about a decade and a half ago, where a la 2012. I really love this timeline here, this timeline of the AI evolution. Of course, the AI term has been around for a really long time, but like deep learning, AI for meaningful work, was really around 2012, where we were using this kind of neural networks and this deep learning AI to understand the world. And this is a timeline that Jensen was presenting as part of the NVIDIA kind of roadmap, and kind of thinking through where we are in the trajectory of that capabilities of AI today. So a la 2012, we had perception AI, where AI could kind of, perceive the world. It was all about kind of medical, like imaging and object character recognition, and how do you perceive the world? How do you understand the world, right? Speech recognition and image recognition, describing images with AI. That was kind of perception AI. Now, fast forward to about 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more. For us, it was the Chat GPT moment, but generative AI came along, and now AI could actually create stuff as well. Not only can it perceive the world, but it can generate new novel content that wasn't there before. Now it can generate permutations of that. It can generate that from scratch, right? And that's kind of where generative AI has been growing over the last 2.5, 3 years since ChatGPT came along. And that's on the text side with ChatGPT. That's on images with Perplexity. Sorry, rather with with Midjourney, and then DALL-E and all of those image generators, and then even with video lately. So I don't know if how many of you have played around with Sora from OpenAI or VO2 from Google, generating content and video from scratch. Um, Moving forward, now we are at a place where AI can actually interact with the world, right? So it can become agentic. So we're in an agentic place right now where AI can act on the world as well. So not only can it generate stuff, not only can it perceive the world, but it can act on the world as well. And that's kind of where we believe that this is going to continue the acceleration. And what makes that possible are a few things that we're going to talk about. But the next phase then would be physical AI, AI that actually can kind of touch and feel the real world and perceive the real world. And it's not very far away, right? You probably have a Tesla self-driving car, or you've been in a Waymo car. I haven't, but I actually was talking to a bunch of my friends the other day, and they're like, "Hey, they got into one in Austin, into a Waymo in Austin, and it was such an amazing experience. A personalized experience. They got in. They actually almost they said we almost got into an accident, but it's not really, because the human driver cut in front of them, and the AI handled that perfectly. Well, Waymo handled that perfectly. So that's the physical AI and how those is going to be next. But let's kind of focus again on our agentic AI, where we are today, and how we think about that. So again, agentic AI refers to AI that acts like an agent. That it means that it takes initiatives, it makes decisions, and then really carries out tasks on its own to achieve those goals. So it really acts and decides. Like those are the two big things. And when you think about it, agentic AI operates on kind of these three core principles. You have, think about like you have reasoning, and that's kind of the intelligence part. That's the intelligence part. It can adapt to its environment, and it can act. So think about that as the brain, the skills, and the context. And you think about reasoning, it's the AI models. So when you see an AI model come out and says, well, this is the O3 model, the O1 model, the model, the 4.0, or Gemini 2.5, those are the AI models that are able to reason, right? That's the intelligence part of this system, the agentic AI. So it's not just the model. Agentic AI does not mean that the model is the agentic AI. It means that it's a component. It's the intelligent part of this kind of three parts of the system. And then the second part is context and data. So the ability for the AI to reason, it needs to adopt and think about what context is in, and what data does it have. For example, as you think about yourself, you're performing a task, you're reaching out to a student, you need to understand what that students' prior conversations were. You're reading their file, you're understanding the context, you're seeing what their background is, all of those pieces, and then you're adopting what you need to do next, right? You're reasoning about what you need to do. So that context and data is super important in order for us to have an agentic system that actually can be very, very valuable. So you can see now two different parts. You have the AI models. The more capable the model, the better the reasoning, the more context and data that the system have, the better, the better decisions the model can do. And then the third part, which is, so important, it's really that ability to act. So can the model have, or can the agentic system have tools and skills? So how can it perform tasks? It can reason all day long, and you can give it data all day long, but if it just spits out text to you, like that's not very good, right? It's not really doing anything. So we need to hook it up to tools and skills, so you can reach out into different software and perform tasks, reach out into your data system, into your CRMs, into your SISs, reach out and do automation. So it needs to act and perform. And the tools and skills are probably one of the most important things when you move from generative AI to agentic AI is the act part, right? The act part is what makes that possible. And that's what we need tools and skills. So your chatbot today is not agentic AI, right? It's like it just, get some context and then it reasons about it, or it can kind of spit out an answer back. It doesn't do anything else besides that, right? So what does that match, and like why is that important in higher education? And when you look at it, is that agentic AI matters in 2025 because we know and we've kind of beat this to death, but students are really increasingly expecting more intelligent and personalized experiences, right? And then just in high we just do not have the efficiency, and we do not have the staff, and we do not have the capabilities of serving those students at the level that they need. We have quoted in the past where like a coach or an advisor has an average nationally has about 375 cases to one advisor, which is crazy because how do you for every semester, how do you keep up and how do you have all that context and all that data to make the next best action, right? And then think about it this way, like we just talked about AI not being just a tool anymore, but a teammate, right? And this agentic system can actually do that work that can amplify somebody. And it's a competitive advantage as well. Like we're seeing organizations that are moving faster, getting this efficiency gains by providing better experiences for their student, by providing better capabilities and actually reaching into that. So our AI journey at Element, I'm going to switch now to Element, actually started back in 2.5 when generative AI came about, and we started building those tools. We started building those tools really quickly, but then we like as the intelligence got better and better, we actually started to build tools that were better, right? So we started building our Bolt AI, and we started building agents for building campaigns. We started building agents for building landing pages. We built multiple agents and with our AI assistants to actually collaborate together. And they could use tools as well, right? They could create appointments and they can kind of pull data. Um, but but then we started building more and more of those AI agents, things like, for example, fraud agent and an application reader agent. And today we're going to talk about how we have built an agent platform that you can give it any goal and then give it a set of tools and a set of skills, and you will reason about what to do next in order to achieve those goals. And that's what we're calling our digital workforce or AI agent platform today in order to accomplish those things. And the way we think about it is that these become your AI teams. So you have a student a success team, but you also have humans in there, but you also have an AI success team that is, has one agent, agent 99, to does support, or that has different goals and different jobs. And then you have agent 100 and 1000. So you can create as many of these agents and goals as you want, working on that simple student, on that one student. And of course, the humans also can have their own AI agents helping them or enhancing their capabilities or what they're able to do more. So it's a symbiotic relationship of goals that you give these agents, but then also the humans have their own kind of agents. So the model changes a little bit as well, and that's what we've built, right? So this is only possible for us because of the ability for those agents to have all of these incredible tools, to have all of the incredible content and data that's all part of our intelligent CRM and customer data platform. And then we're building the AI agents on top that can have the best reasoning and best models, and then their reasoning and those skills that are directly related to acting and kind of communicating with those students in kind of one of the most advanced marketing and engagement platforms for higher ed. So that's kind of what we've been building up to. And I'm going to hand it off to Ty and Brendan to kind of showcase Bolt AI agents, and what we're kind of calling, not just calling, but what we're introducing and releasing essentially our autonomous agents, our proactive agents that can accomplish these goals without you having to interact with them, without you having to tell them what to do every single time, but actually, doing it on their own, similar to how a human would actually go about achieving that goal. So I'll hand it off. I'll stop here. Ty will take it on from here to kind of show you some of these capabilities as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Artist, for that amazing introduction. And we will kind of show you in practice a lot of those ideas that Artist just explained when it comes to agents in general and how we've deployed them for higher ed in Element. So Brendan and I will walk you through a bunch of different examples. We're going to try to keep it at a level that you can follow even if you haven't used Element before. So we may go kind of quickly through some concepts, but feel free to ask questions in the chat if you have any. And let me get my screen shared here and we can start with an example.
Artist, I had to put on, when you referenced the glasses, I had to put on my Meta AI Ray-Bans for the call now. So channeling all the AI energy with the glasses too.
That's awesome. Just say, hey, Meta, send Artist a text message.
Amazing. So we're here on a landing page, and you can imagine, any on-campus team is going to be handling a lot of inbound inquiries, whether you're in admissions or student success or in advancement. There's a lot of communication that comes into your office, and getting back to people quickly with the right answer is a really big challenge. So with Element, the very basics of how we deploy agents is that you can create agents that answer your messages. And one place that you can put those agents is on your website. So here we have an example of a landing page for a fictional university, Element University, and we have our chat interface here. And we can choose from the agents that we have set up for the university. So let's talk to Carolyn and ask Carolyn some questions. She's an admissions advisor at our university. So the first thing I'll do is maybe I'll just use one of these. Tell me about Element University. And so Carolyn is set up so that she can answer questions by chat like this, and we'll see an example in a moment. And many of you are familiar with how chatbots like this work and how they can be useful. But one thing that really sets our agents apart is that they're able to speak and not just text. So let's give Carolyn a call and talk to her as well.
How can I assist you?
Hi, Carolyn. I'm here with a bunch of my friends and they want to learn about you. Can you tell me what you can do?
Hi there. I'm Carolyn, Element University's AI assistant. I can provide information about the university, help with admissions, events, academic programs, and more. Just ask and I'll do my best to assist you and your friends. What would you like to know?
That's amazing. Let's say I had someone here who only spoke Spanish. Could you explain that in Spanish as well?
Claro, estoy aquí para ayudar en español también. Puedo brindar información sobre la universidad, admisiones, eventos y programas académicos. Si tienes alguna pregunta o necesitas...
Thank you so much, Carolyn. So you can see there, that's a very typical type of interaction that you could have with an agent through a website. Now we want to show you kind of behind the scenes how that actually works. But just to set that up, the crux of it is what Artist was explaining. Not only can our agents actually take in information and respond back to people answering inbound inquiries, they can do full jobs on behalf of your institution, acting independently. And that's what makes Element a full digital workforce platform. It's the place where your agents and your staff work together. So here is our interface here. Can you all see the screen now?
Yep, looks good.
So I'm starting here on our list of agents at Element University. And here you can see there's agents in a variety of different roles. And here we have Carolyn. So we can look at the way that we have Carolyn set up, we can see all of the skills that she has. Here in this interface, you can customize the knowledge that Carolyn has, or the different things that she's able to do within the system. So Carolyn is configured to answer questions like the one that we, or the ones that you could have through the website, but she also has a full suite of skills. She can schedule appointments, she can register students for events, and those things are all included when we actually ask Carolyn to do real work, independent jobs without being prompted. And this is where you kind of configure those jobs. We can create actual work for our agents to do here in Element. So here's an example. This is a job where we actually have Carolyn with the goal of getting nursing prospects to start their application. So as people come to our institution, whether they fill out a form, they send us an email, whatever it is, they get their information is stored in Element, and then Carolyn will follow up with them and encourage them to finish their application. So here you can see a list of the people that Carolyn is sort of monitoring and keeping track of, that she's aware they haven't started their application, and her goal is to help with that. And you can see that as people actually fill out their application, she sees it and she notes that the goal has been completed. Whereas for other people, she's in a monitoring mode. She's waiting to see whether they reach out, whether they hit the website, what their activity is, different data that comes in about them, maybe notes that the staff leaves, and she's able to kind of adapt to that and make smart decisions about when to reach out to them to start this application. So we're going to give you an example here by enrolling Brendan. So here's Brendan.
There I am.
And we'll add him to the job. And I can find him here. And so what Carolyn is going to do is take a look at his profile data. So we have a full profile of everything that Brendan has done. You know, this is all placeholder data. But Carolyn is able to see all of this, any sort of activity that he's had in the past, application history, et cetera. And she can take all of that into account with the decisions that she's going to make when it comes to trying to get him to start this nursing application. So there you could see Carolyn finished her initial monitoring process, and she's actually thinking actively about what to do next for Brandon. And she's going to come up with personalized outreach that makes sense for him in his specific situation. So here you can see an action that Carolyn decided to do. She is going to promote this application to Brendan. And so she's going to send him an email, send him a text, and give him a phone call. And while this is processing, she is getting ready and will be kind of getting set up to make the phone call. So Brendan should get the phone call momentarily.
Yeah.
We can see all of the text that she's sending him as well.
Yeah, and there's one thing to keep of note here. Like, notice it's sending me and doing all this at one time whenever he goes in and approves it. But thinking of what these agents are actually doing, it's looking at my actual behavior. So it's looking at when I'm engaging with messaging that's from your institution, what time, what days, and it's actually strategically scheduling. We have it set up to send out immediately because, I mean, how boring would the demo be if it sent it out tomorrow morning, right? You wouldn't be able to see that. But essentially what's happening here is it's going to be able to analyze everything about that student, their conversation history, their behavioral activity, and strategically on an individual scale, personalize not only what it's talking to these students about, and but also how it's talking about it and when it goes out. And actually, while I'm talking, I'm getting a phone call. Let me answer that. Hello.
Hi, Brendan. I'm Carolyn, an AI admission advisor from Element University. I'm calling to support your interest in our nursing program and answer any questions you might have about the program or the application process. I'd love to continue our conversation in Spanish if you prefer. How can I assist you today?
Yeah, no thanks. I don't speak Spanish, but I would love to know more about the nursing program.
I'm here to help with that. Our nursing program is known for its comprehensive curriculum and hands-on clinical experience. We value applicants with leadership experience and military backgrounds, which really makes your profile stand out. Have you had a chance to start the Element undergraduate application yet?
I haven't, because I don't know if my GPA of 3.1 is good enough for the bachelor's program. Can you let me know if that's good enough?
For our Bachelor of Science in Nursing, or BSN program, a minimum GPA of 3.0 is required. So your GPA of 3.1 meets the criteria. You're in a great position to apply. Would you like some guidance on how to start the application?
Yeah, if you can go ahead and, send me what I need to start the application, that would be perfect. And so,
Yeah, so Brendan should get a text momentarily. That will
Continue.
follow up. Yeah.
yeah, so essentially what is happening is she's now going to send me a link. I had to mute myself or else it would have cut her off. So it's going to send me a link now to start the application so that I am going to be able to get that and start and walk through it. So as I'm talking to Carolyn now, once I get that application via text message, which I have right here in my inbox, I will go ahead. Actually, let me go ahead and share that with you really quick and show you that.
Yeah, and while Brendan gets that set up, I just want to note that what I've been sharing on my screen is this call happening in real time. So one of the amazing things about Bolt agents is that they're built within our core Element 451 platform. So they actually use the platform alongside your team. So when they're operating, when they're making outreach or doing their work within Element, your team has full access to all of that for visibility and also for editing and kind of adjusting what they're doing. And what's really magical is as that phone call is taking place, or as soon as that phone call is over, we have a recording of it and we have a summary. So anyone who wants to come back in the future and see how that phone call went doesn't even have to go through the whole thing. They can get a quick analysis right here. And this is part of getting at that digital workforce concept, because if you have AI agents that are great, but they don't really communicate well about what they're doing, that could be counterproductive, right? Like any good teammate, you need your agents to interface well with the rest of the team.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, Ty, one question. I think there's a couple of folks that are. So as we're doing the demo, part of the demo is our ability to, we wanted to showcase all the responses. So we're doing the translation and everything else in real time in order to show everything in here. But the responses on the voice is really, really fast. It's actually using tools to actually go in and pull that data in real time in order to have that conversation. And as we build more of these agents, we're loading that stuff in the context. So it's really real time. And as we're putting this into production, those perceived delays in here in the demo will be very minimal. And we're actually experimenting with voice kind of design right now. So it does the human like pauses or things like that, just as it's thinking through what that question was in order to respond with data from other systems. So that's the beautiful part here, is that the responses seem a second or so delayed because it's pulling the data in real time. And we wanted to showcase that in here. So yes, that's just wanted to kind of address that, because that is not the that's not the intent, or that's not the real world use case here as this go live.
Yeah, that's a great point, Artist. Thank you. And that's something that we're also innovating on constantly. So the voice interface is really critical because it just opens up a whole world of use cases, whether that is using the web, You can use our student portal called Student Hub, and students can actually talk to agents using their voice or over the phone. So it's extremely powerful. It's a big pillar of what we're doing. So I'm back here on the agent index screen. So we got to see a little bit of what Carolyn was doing in that case. But admissions advisors are just the start. As you can see, you can create a variety of different types of agents, and you can customize them to your school's workflow. And our vision is that you can hire an entire staff of experts. And as soon as you bring on an agent, what's great is they don't need to it doesn't take as long to onboard them, right? Because you have all of your institution's knowledge, your systems connected to Element. So as soon as an agent is implemented, they're able to start doing real work. So another really great job for agents is promoting an event. So as an example here, we have a job for Thomas, who's an academic advisor, to promote registration for orientation. So when students get enrolled, we want to make sure that they know about orientation. We want to make sure they show up at the right date and the right time. And we want somebody, as opposed to just sending out campaigns, we want an agent to reach out, because that agent can start a conversation with that person to make sure that they're all set. So if the person has questions, the agent can respond. That's not possible with campaigns. Your team would still have to be doing the responses. So that's one of the big advantages of using agents for this type of thing. So again, we can go into our people section, and we can see some people who Thomas has already been working on. So we can find Brendan here. And you can see that there was a little notice as Brendan was getting integrated with the job, and then he popped into the list. And again, the agent is going to take a look at all of that data on Brendan's record and decide the best things to do. You can see it's already started thinking there. Now, one other thing I want to explain is that this job, Thomas as an agent is promoting an event. But the reason that Thomas is able to do that is because we have a very robust events suite within Element. So you can run all of your on-campus events through the system. And that's the actual system that Thomas uses as well. So here we have kind of a new concept that we're really excited to explain, which is approvals. So in the prior example, we had set up the job so that the agent was able to take action entirely independently without asking us first. But a lot of the time, you might want your agents to check in with you before they actually take action. So that is completely configurable in Element. If you want your agents to ask you every single time before they do anything, they will. If you want to give them specific rules or guidance about when they're allowed to do things on their own, they can. And what it looks like is you'll see this approval needed status. And then if you go into your My Approvals section as a user of Element, you'll see all of the different actions that your agents would like to take. And you can click on them to see full data. And when you look at the action, it'll give you a full preview of what the agent wants to do, the different channels that it's going to communicate on, or other aspects of the action that it's going to take. And the agent even will tell you what it's thinking, why it decided to make take the specific action that it's taking. So in this case, let's say we like this email, but we just want it to be a little bit more fun. We can send that feedback to the agent. You can see here the status of the pending action becomes feedback sent. So that means that the agent is actually processing this feedback and is going to send back a revised version of this communication that addresses the feedback that I'm providing. And it already came back, so let's take a look. There we go. So once we have this revised version, if we have more feedback, we can continue to talk to the agent about it. Otherwise, we can go ahead and approve it. But one quick thing I want to show you is that you can look at your approvals all in one place when you're looking at your agent setup, but we also have it configured so that in your Element sidebar, which contains some additional agents that I'm going to show you later, you now have an approvals list. And the approval list makes it so that as you're using Element to do whatever work you may be doing, you can quickly zip through anything that your Bolt agents are working on. So this is kind of like if you work in Teams or Slack, throughout the day, you get those little messages that let you know that your teammate is looking for information from you. The element works in a similar way. You'll get that little notice, and then you can hop in and give the agent what you need. So in this case, let me approve this, this action, and Brendan will receive that email shortly. Okay. So yeah, while you wait for that email, Brendan, I can talk a little bit more through the settings and how you actually set up agent actions. So there's lots here, so we can't get into everything, but the basics that you need to know are when you're configuring agents to do work, you get the chance to give them instructions. And you can make those instructions as detailed as you want, but the agents will also be trained with general best practices about how to do certain things. So they'll be good on their own. But this is where you get to kind of teach your agents your specific workflow that you use to help your students. And then the other really important part of setting up agents is configuring their actions. You can configure an unlimited amount of different options for the agent to think about for the actions that they can take to meet the goals that you've defined for them. So in this case, the goal is for the student to sign up for the new student orientation, but the agent also has other options, and you can set up as many different options as you want so that the agent has a lot of sort of tools in their toolkit to be able to try to reach that eventual goal. And for each of these actions, you can actually provide specific custom instructions as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can train your agents. But we also have a little bit more of a self-service, easy way to do this that we'll show you later.
Hi, I got some good news. I've got some emails.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you wanna just
That's okay.
hold it up or share. Yeah.
Yeah. So it should be showing on the screen now, if everyone can see my phone. But yeah, this comes directly in. Notice I have that one. Here's the one previously that it sent for the nursing program to start the application. And then this one above here is for the new student orientation. So both of those came through based off the job. It's super fun, like you gave the feedback for. So it's got the tacos and all the emojis in there, but it's got the direct call to action there that will allow me to go in and now register for that new student orientation. So that came directly in immediately. And so I think this is a big benefit of what these agents are able to do. There's no delay. It's looking at the behaviors and it's immediately able to take action when the student needs that action taken, right? And that's the big benefit of what these agents are going to be able to accomplish without always needing the intervention of someone else.
Yeah, that's right.
And I make one comment. I think Anne asked if if these messages are do you have to pre-configure these messages, or they're generated and written on the fly? And that's the power here, right? It's like they're actually written on the fly. The agent is writing those messages on the fly. It decides what action to take, and then he writes the message on the fly based on the reasoning around it. And it uses your institutional knowledge base to pull any content that's relevant from there. It uses those tools. It also has the context of the user and all prior conversations and everything. So it writes really, really personalized messages, including your voice style and everything else. And I believe what's showing here on the screen is just what type of context it's kind of pulled in from prior conversations and from data around that student that it knows. Things like engagements, things like kind of interest and activities and so on and so forth. So all of that is part of that data.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the power of agents. You don't have to do all of that work up front to kind of create a generalized outreach. You can have an agent make a specific decision about each individual student. It's a total game changer. The quick question I want to answer is around the email system. So you can connect this with your email inboxes. And the interface that I'm showing you here is where you can answer email through Element. And you can do that as a user, but you can also do that you can also allow your agents to do that. So typically it'll be a shared email inbox to a certain department, for example, that you connect to this, and then you can email back and forth from that inbox. All right. So, and then
one more question coming in, and I know that we're kind of coming. This is great. These are really great questions, and the chat has been so lively because there's just so much in here that kind of breaks our current way of thinking about AI and how we do this. And it's like, wait a minute, did it write the right? So the question was like in terms of like not just the knowledge, but the style and the voice. Does that match your institution? And the answer is yes. It actually uses your brand writing style that you have in the system, and it understands that, and it actually uses that to write the messages. Not only that, but you can actually override that at the individual agent level as well. And you can also override the voice and how the agent reacts, and like what kind of voice, real-time voice does it have? Is it a different voices and the voice effect, the tone, the pacing, emotions? So all those pieces are part of the configuration that you can do for each one of the institutions, and it's doing that. All right. No more interruptions. Sorry, I just wanted to kind of, because this is
No,
really
that's
truly
very-
personal at the institution level, at the
Yeah.
user level, at the time level. Yeah.
Yeah, this is infinitely configurable. You can basically set it up to match whatever knowledge and style you need or you would want from your team for those specific cases. So I'm going to go a little bit more quickly through the last example because we have a lot to get to. So this is another really great example of how agents can be very powerful. In student success, whenever you have students who fall behind, who are struggling, it may take a while for people to get that information and follow up with that student. And with agents, you can have them watching 24/7 to see when students start to fall behind and create personalized outreach to them that supports them directly and also connects them to human support from counselors. So this is another job that we have set up for Thomas, our academic advisor. And again, we have our list of people here, and I'll enroll Brendan. Now, but in reality, the way you would often set up a job like this is to be automatic. And the way you can do that is you will actually have a range of triggers that allow you to assign an agent to help someone. So when someone gets an F in a class, for example, or if their grade drops suddenly, you will be able to enroll them in jobs where agents are able to support them. And the underpinning of that is that Element integrates extremely well with your on-campus system. So whether you have your that grade information in whatever system you may have, Element can integrate with that and pull that information in real time so that it's able to use that in its communications with the student. So here we have, again, the agent asking us for approval because it wants to schedule this student support session with Brendan. And I'll approve that. And while Brendan is getting that email, one thing that I want to show you is another type of agent. So I popped into this sidebar a little bit earlier to show you approvals. But what you will typically do, and many of you, if you're using Element, are already using this sidebar frequently, what you would do in this sidebar is interact with your staff agents. So staff agents are a different type of agent that aren't there to communicate with students and support students. They're actually there just to support you as a user of Element. And they work in similar ways. They're extremely intelligent, they're aware of context, and they provide personalized support, but it's intended for you as the user. So one that we recently launched is called our appointments agent. And you can actually ask your agent to help you prepare for appointments. So let's imagine that Brendan got that text and set up that student success appointment. I actually did that in advance, so I can show you how the agent can actually prep the user of Element for an upcoming appointment. And it's going to pull all of the information about that appointment, the information that it has about the student, and it's going to create kind of a customized summary that helps me get ready. Now, let's say I was new to counseling students and I didn't know exactly how I should approach this appointment. The agent is connected to our university's entire knowledge base, so it understands those best practices, and as long as we've given that training, it can help me too. So I'm saying I'm new to counseling, I need some help. It's able to give me a full breakdown, a full agenda of all of the things that I should cover within this appointment with Brendan. And I can keep asking questions here and get more and more background to help me. So this is absolutely critical, because if you're dealing with 4 or 5 different appointments a day, you might not have time to go into a detailed history, but being able to get a summary can prep you in just a couple minutes. Okay, so I want to show you one more thing before we just turn it over to questions. Earlier, when I was showing you our agents, I was showing you how it's easy to set them up, it's easy to configure them along with the jobs that they're doing. And we have a really nice interface where you're able to make agents in just a few clicks. The issue is, if you want to create an agent and you want to assign them, 5, 10 different jobs, you may not know exactly the best way to do those jobs. And you may want some help because, even if it only takes a few minutes, you may want to do it a little faster. And so that's why we have a Bolt Agent Creator agent. So this is an agent that actually builds Bolt agents for you. So for example,
A little meta there.
a little bit meta.
Yeah.
And let me.
You have an HR, you have an onboarding. Let's call it an HR agent. We have an onboarding agent.
Yeah, we can officially rename it. So let's say we wanted to recruit more students for our undergrad engineering program. We can ask our Bolt agent to actually build that agent. So yeah, focus on answering questions. Sounds good. No name. So our agent here is going to create an outline of the Bolt agent that it wants to create that will be our undergraduate recruiter. And you can see as it actually processes the request, you can see the steps that it's doing. And
one of the questions before is, do we have proprietary avatars or not? So it's just generating that stuff for you.
Yeah, we generate them on the fly. So over here, you can see that agent actually set up, and you can see that it's popped into our list now. And one of the things that I love about our staff agents is they're really helpful. They keep asking you, how can I help even further? So it asked me, would you like to create a job to assign Taylor to? So I'm going to give it a job. And all I need to do is just describe what I am trying to accomplish.
Demo magic, copying and paste.
Yeah, exactly.
I was about to say, you type really fast, Todd.
Yeah, not quite. So I want to reach out. Let's say my job is to reach out to folks who are trying to major in engineering and encourage them to apply. I can do that myself through Element, but I can just as easily ask an agent to help. And so our agent here is going to make the job, and voila. Here's the job that it created. It's already set up with instructions for the agent, and it's set up with predefined actions that are going to be based on best practices for how to conduct that specific type of work on campus. So just to recap, we covered a ton, but this is actually just scratching the surface of everything that you can do with agents in Element 451. And overall, what we're trying to show you is that we're embracing the vision that Artis has put forth as being where the whole industry is going and where the world of work is going. So the digital workforce is something that's going to be totally normal in the future. And we want to bring that to you in higher ed so that you can support your students better, solve whatever challenges you're facing, and meet your goals.
All right. I think we have time for just a couple of we've been trying to answer all the questions in the so is this an add-on feature on Element? The answer is no. So agents are part of the platform. Element is becoming the workforce platform for higher ed, and all of the traditional CRM tools like appointments and so on and so forth. We are, let me share my screen just 1 second here, because this kind of gives you kind of the, so we're moving to teams, right? So its ability to deliver functionality through agents rather than pieces of software. So everything that's delivered for the let's say the admissions team here. So then you're going to buy the admissions team in the future. You're going to buy the admissions team, and then they have all the tools that they need, from application reading to the application module, to decisioning, to all the tools that they need to do their job, and then all the reasoning and agents that are part of that. You get your student support team or student success team. It's the same thing there. You get all of the AI hub and everything else. Or you can just get everything all together, and you get all of the teams together. So that's kind of the the way that we're delivering this software to everybody. For those who are already on the Element platform, they're going to get all of the agents automatically as part of it. So they're just going to get now all this agentic additional agents as part of their current platform.
Cool. I'm going to go ahead and field one, Artist. Drew, your question on the studies of like the nature of the students preferring a conversation with an AI versus a person. There are studies out there. We can definitely send you some of that information and kind of go over some of those numbers. But essentially, the second part you said, where part of an admissions work is digging into the nuances of the prospective student's interest, and that seems out of scope of the project. Absolutely not. So what this is doing is it has all of that context and perspective on top of what, including what you're getting from forms, what you're getting from the application, but more than that, what have the conversations consisted of that they've had with other agents and your staff members? It's analyzing all of those conversations, and I would say it even has the ultimate context, because a person can analyze all that information all at once and be able to respond immediately with that information.
Right.
So definitely not out of scope, and one of the strengths of what these agents are able to bring to the table.
One of the questions, or there was another question around the preferences on students and the personalization. We consider this to be even more personalized than actually human. A human, it's impossible for them to know everything and to have all the context and prior conversations that Brendan said. So when a student is communicating via text or email, there's really, no difference. Well, actually, there is a huge difference. It's like the AI agent is going to respond immediately, and it's going to be accurate, all the time, with additional context and more personalized. So that's we see that as being a huge positive, and trends are becoming more and more positive around interactions as these agents get better and they get deployed for different workloads and work use cases. Folks and people, and even Gen Z, they prefer to communicate with these AIs rather than a human as well.
I got a nice one in
I
here,
think we're
Artist. One more,
last one.
just for
Go
the
for
plug,
it.
okay? Will more in-depth information and setup be available at Element Engage Summit in June? I said there will be a ton more. So if you are
Yes.
in this room and you are not already scheduled to show up at Engage in Charlotte, North Carolina this June, do that. Do not wait. And there will be, might even be a chance for you to get some hands-on at Engage. So do not hesitate to do that. So.
That's right. That's right. In terms of capabilities and the release rollout for this, we are launching this in preview very, very shortly, the jobs capabilities, and then in full, full launch in production at the end of June, or June 23rd, as we head into our Engage Summit. All right. We did say that that was the last question. Thank you, everybody. We're going to have a recording of this live soon, and we'll probably do follow-ups as well as we kind of introduce and we roll this out both to the Element community, but also those folks who want to know more on how this works, as this really changes, how personalization happens, how these teams can be given goals now, and truly building that that agentic future for higher ed. Ty, Brendan, great work. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you,
dream team.
Artis, and
Good
thank
work,
you,
everyone.
everybody, for being
Thanks
here.
for showing up, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.